Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the Albay Provincial Board has approved Legazpi City's ordinance creating a PhilHealth Consulta Capitation Fund. The fund will support outpatient consultations and diagnostic services through allocations from PhilHealth. The move is expected to improve access to preventive health care for Legazpi residents. The Committee on Health and Social Services confirmed that the ordinance is within the City Council's authority. Board member Maureen Caroline Sigasos said the measure aligns with national laws on public health programs. In other news, the Albay Provincial Board has commended Engineer Ivan Ian Sabila Baria of Pulangi for placing 8th in the real estate appraisals exam. Baria earned a rating of 84.5% in the November 2025 licensure examinations. The commendation was endorsed after a review by the Committee on Screening. Committee Chair Emmanuel Ribaya said Baria's achievement reflects the excellence of young Albayanos. Provincial officials said his success serves as an inspiration and adds to the province's roster of outstanding professionals. In other news, the Albay Provincial Health Office intensified its HIV awareness campaign through the U equals U methods, emphasizing that undetectable viral loads are untransmittable. The initiative aimed to combat the stigma, promote accurate information, and empower residents to make informed health decisions. Mikey Jaya Thea Salomon, Program Coordinator of the National AIDS and STI Prevention and Control Program, discussed key facts about HIV, early testing, and antiretroviral therapy. The campaign stressed that individuals maintaining an undetectable viral load cannot transmit HIV, highlighting the protective benefits of treatment. Health officials encourage Albayanos to access free HIV services and share verified information to reduce the stigma. The provincial government said protecting oneself is also an act of care for the community. In the national scene, Akbayan Representative Percival Sindania called on Congress to pass an anti-political dynasty law, saying the concentration of power within families fuels patronage politics and corruption, as more officials are linked to the public works scandal. Speaking at a Commission on Human Rights forum marking International Anti-Corruption Day, Sindana said many of those implicated in corruption cases either belong to or are connected to political dynasties. He said banning dynasties will not end corruption overnight, but it is a necessary step toward accountability and better governance. Sindana is among the authors of the only anti-political dynasty bill pending in the House of Representatives, which remains stalled at the committee level. Similar measures in the Senate have also failed to advance, though he said support from civil society, the academic, and religious groups is growing. He also renewed calls for greater transparency in bicameral conference committee proceedings, backing a proposal to live stream meetings, open them to the public, and release official minutes following allegations of questionable budget insertions. The Commission on Audit said it is studying reforms to address corruption within the agency, including requiring auditors to submit detailed declarations of interest alongside asset disclosures, subject to data privacy rules. COA officials acknowledged that allegations involving Commissioner Mario Lipana have affected employee morale. An infrastructure watchdog has urged the Office of the Ombudsman to file charges against Lipana over his alleged role in a kickback scheme tied to infrastructure projects. In other story, the Supreme Court has struck down the transfer of billions of pesos from PhilHealth to the National Treasury, ruling it unconstitutional and in violation of existing health laws. The transfers originated from a 2023 budget provision and a Department of Finance circular that allowed government-owned corporations to remit and used funds to finance general government spending. PhilHealth sent 60 billion pesos in 3 tranches in 2024, with a final of 29.9 billion pesos tranche blocked after legal challenges prompted a temporary restraining order. The court ruled that the provision was an unrelated rider to the budget law and conflicted with the Universal Health Care Act, which requires PhilHealth to maintain reserve funds for health insurance purposes. Redirecting these funds undermines the financial stability of the social health insurance system. The decision permanently bars further transfers and orders the return of the 60 billion pesos already remitted. Lawmakers must now include the returned funds in the 2026 national budget, reaffirming that PhilHealth reserves cannot be used for purposes outside health care. In other news, Malacanang on Wednesday said it expects Congress to submit the enrolled copy of the proposed 2026 General Appropriations Bill to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. before Christmas. Palace officials said the President will no longer certify the measure as urgent since both chambers of Congress have already approved the budget bill, with the House of Representatives passing it on October 14 and the Senate approving its version on December 9. To speed up the process, the House extended its session calendar until December 23 to allow more time for bicameral deliberations, while the Senate also committed to holding extended sessions during the Christmas period solely for budget discussions. Under the budget process, the executive branch prepares the National Expenditure Program, which is approved by the President before being transmitted to Congress. The proposal is first reviewed by the House Committee on Appropriations, where lawmakers may introduce amendments within the spending ceiling set by the President. Once approved on third reading by the House, the measure becomes the General Appropriations Bill and is transmitted to the Senate for further review and possible amendments. Any differences between the House and Senate versions are resolved by a bicameral conference committee before the final bill is ratified by both chambers and sent to the President for signing or veto. And in the news outside the country, more than 500,000 people have fled their homes in Thailand and Cambodia as renewed fighting erupts along the disputed frontier, according to official statements from both governments. Thailand has evacuated over 400,000 civilians across 7 provinces, citing an imminent threat to public safety. Cambodia reports more than 101,000 people moved to shelters or relatives' homes in 5 provinces. The clash marked the most severe escalation since July, when dozens were killed and about 300,000 were displaced before a fragile truce took hold. The long-running dispute centers on colonial-era border demarcations and competing claims to historical temples. Both sides accuse each other of triggering the latest round of violence, which has now spread to 5 provinces in its country. In other story, a defense hotline between Japan and China appears to be ineffective following a recent military incident raising concerns about accidental clashes. Japan said China's military aircraft directed radar at Air Self-Defense Force jets over international waters near Okinawa. The aircraft were operating from China's aircraft carrier Liaoning, which conducted about 100 flight operations over 2 days. Despite the incident, Japan has not confirmed any use of the defense hotline established in March 2023 to prevent military contingencies. The hotline is part of a broader communication mechanism launched in 2018 to reduce tensions. Concerns were raised this week within Japan's ruling party, with former Defense Minister Tomomi Inada calling for clarity on whether the hotline is functioning. Officials said differing accounts from Tokyo and Beijing highlight communication failures. With China's military activity continuing, Japan warns the risk of misunderstanding remains high. And finally, in the news outside the country, Philippine authorities are evaluating claims that the International Criminal Court (ICC) may have issued arrest warrant for Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa over alleged crimes against humanity during the Duterte anti-drug campaign, one of the world's most controversial law enforcement drives in recent years. The Department of Justice stated that it has not received any official ICC document describing the reports as premature. The allegations were publicly raised by the Office of the Ombudsman, whose head, Jesus Crispin Remulla, said he obtained information suggesting the warrant's existence, including an unofficial copy reportedly stored in a personal device. The ICC has not confirmed or denied the claim, citing confidentiality provisions that allow certain warrants to remain sealed until formal enforcement. De la Rosa, a former police chief and key architect of the Philippines' hardline anti-drug operations, has long been associated with allegations of extrajudicial killings and human rights violations. The ICC retains jurisdiction over crimes committed while the Philippines was a member, despite the country's 2019 withdrawal from the court, underscoring continuing tensions between international accountability mechanisms and national sovereignty. Legal experts note that if confirmed, an ICC warrant could carry diplomatic and operational implications, including potential travel restrictions and international legal obligations for Philippine authorities. The situation has drawn global attention to the broader challenge of enforcing international human rights law against high-ranking officials in nations with complex political landscapes. And that's all for the news at 12, December 12, 2025. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writer, LJ Lorejo and Naomi Ruth Hernandez. And on the technical side, Tad Bobis. And our Provincial Information Officer, OIC Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel E. Rosal, I am Greg Hallare. Albay in my heart. Thank you for subscribing.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from your PIO family. Yay!
Wishing everyone love, joy, and peace this Christmas from the Levico Albay family. Yay!
Maligayang Pasko sa lahat. Naway puno ng pag-ibig, saya at biyaya ang inyong pamilya mula sa Gender and Development.
Wishing everyone a joyful Christmas filled with peace, love, and hope.
From the PIO family, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year! Go! Ang sarili mong pamamayo, ang tunay na regalo sa mga Albayano. Merry Christmas!
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Maligayang Pasko at manigong bagong taon sa inyong lahat. Mula sa Albay Provincial Day, Albay in my heart.
We